This is it, folks. Breaking news hitting the wire right now, April 4, 2025, 1:11 a.m. Pacific Time, and it's massive. The Canadian government just dropped a bombshell that's about to change everything for seniors across the country. Are you ready? Because the Canada Pension Plan and Old Age Security payments for April 2025 are locked, loaded, and coming your way, and the exact dates, the deposit details, the dollar amounts, they're all here, and they're bigger than you might think. But here's the kicker: millions of you might miss out if you don't know what's happening right now. Stay with me, because this isn't just about money, it's about your life, your security, your future. And trust me, you're not going to want to blink for a second of this. Either way, this is for you, yes, you, the senior who's worked hard, paid your dues, and deserves every penny of what's coming. We're diving into the deep end of the Canada Pension Plan CPP and Old Age Security OAS because April 2025 is shaping up to be a game changer. The government's been tinkering behind closed doors, and now the vault's wide open. Exact dates? Check. Deposit details? You bet. But there's a twist lurking in the shadows, and I'll spill it soon, something that could mean the difference between a full payout and an empty bank account. Stick with me, because we're about to unravel this thriller step by step, and I promise, it's going to hit you right in the heart. That moment when the government says, here's what you've earned, here's what you deserve. Well, the April 2025 payment schedule is live, and it's pulsing with promise. Picture this: your bank account lighting up with a direct deposit, the numbers ticking up like a jackpot on a slot machine. For CPP, the maximum monthly payout if you're starting at age 65 is sitting at $1,433. That's right, $1,433 sliding into your account like a lifeline. And for OAS, if you're between 65 and 74, you're looking at a maximum of $727.67 per month. But wait, if you're 75 or older, that jumps to $800.44, thanks to a permanent 10% boost the government locked in back in 2022. Feel that rush? That's real money, your money, and it's coming soon. But here's where the suspense creeps in: not everyone gets the max. Oh no, there's a catch, and it's got your name on it if you're not careful. How much you actually see depends on a few things, and we're going to peel back the layers together slowly, deliberately, like a detective cracking a case. First, let's talk about who qualifies. This is where the plot thickens, because the government's got rules, and they're watching closely. For CPP, you've got to be at least 60 years old, and you need to have made at least one valid contribution during your working years. Maybe you were punching the clock at a factory, teaching kids in a classroom, or running your own little business, doesn't matter. If you paid into CPP, you're in the game. The amount you get hinges on how much you contributed and for how long, plus when you decide to start cashing in. Start at 65, and you're golden with that $1,433 max. But here's a twist: delay it to 70, and it climbs higher up to 42% more, like a secret bonus stashed away for the patient ones. For OAS, it's simpler but just as critical. You need to be 65 or older, a Canadian citizen or legal resident, and have lived here for at least 10 years since you turned 18. Live here 40 years after 18, and you're in line for the full amount. Less than that, you still get something, but it's prorated, like a piece of the pie instead of the whole thing. Are you with me so far? Because there's a shadow looming over this, something called the clawback, and it's about to make your pulse race. For April 2025, the government set the drop date for both CPP and OAS payments, Wednesday, April 23 road. That's when the cash hits your account if you've got direct deposit, and trust me, you want direct deposit, because checks can lag, and who's got time for that? April 23 RD, 2025. Say it with me. Feel the weight of it. That's the day your bank balance gets a boost, the day you can breathe a little easier, maybe treat yourself to something nice, or just know the rent's covered. But here's the edge of your seat moment: what if it doesn't show up? What if you're one of the ones left staring at an empty screen? That's not just a glitch, it's a possibility, and it's tied to who you are and what you've done. We're going to figure that out together, so don't you dare look away. Now, let's dig into the dollars. I've thrown out those maximums: $1,433 for CPP, $727.67 or $800.44 for OAS, but let's get real. Most folks don't hit the max. The average CPP payout for a new retirement pension at 65 was $808.14 as of late 2024, and it's creeping up with inflation adjustments. For 2025, they've bumped it by 2.6%, so expect a little more juice in that number come April. OAS, meanwhile, gets reviewed every quarter: January, April, July, October, to keep pace with the Consumer Price Index. That's the government's way of saying, we know prices are climbing, and we're not leaving you high and dry. For April to June 2025, the CPI didn't budge enough to hike OAS from the last quarter, but it's still up 2% from a year ago. So, if you're 65 to 74, that $727.67 is steady. Over 75, that $800.44 holds firm. But here's where the mystery deepens: your income could slash those numbers or wipe them out entirely. Cue the ominous music, because the clawback's about to step into the spotlight. It's the government's sneaky little trap for OAS, and it's got teeth. If your net income, think all your earnings, investments, whatever tops $90,997 in 2025, they start taking back your OAS. For every dollar over that threshold, they claw back 15 cents. Say you're pulling in $100,000. That's $9,003 over the line, and 15% of that is about $1,350 yanked from your OAS for the year. Divide that by 12, and your monthly check shrinks by over $112. High earners could lose it all. It's like a heist in reverse. They're not stealing from the bank, they're stealing from you. And here's the kicker: it's based on your 2024 tax return, filed this month, April 2025. Miss a step, miscalculate, and you're caught in the net. Are you feeling that chill yet? Because there's a way to dodge it, and I'm not letting you go until we crack that code. But first, let's talk extras. Because CPP and OAS aren't the whole story, there's more cash on the table if you're eligible. Ever heard of the Guaranteed Income Supplement? GIS is like OAS's quiet sidekick, slipping extra money to low-income seniors. If you're 65 or older, getting OAS, and your income's below $22,056 as a single person or less if you've got a spouse, GIS could pad your wallet. For April 2025, it's hovering around $1,000 a month for singles, less if you're coupled up, and it's tax-free. Then there's the allowance for folks 60 to 64 if your spouse gets GIS, or the allowance for the survivor if you're widowed and under a certain income cap. These aren't chump change, they're lifelines, and they're yours if you fit the mold. But here's the suspense: you've got to apply for GIS. It's not automatic like OAS can be. Miss that step, and it's like leaving money on the table while the clock ticks down. Are you starting to see the stakes here?